Firstly, we discuss about the schedules to the Act. In the first schedule, there are the names of the books under Ayurvedic, Unani, and Siddha system. There are 57 books of Ayurveda, 13 books of Siddha, 30 books of Unani Tibbet system listed in the schedule. In the second schedule, there are standards to be compiled with by imported drugs and by drugs manufactured for sale, sold, stocked, or exhibited for sale or distribution. Next topic is the schedules to the rules. There are number of schedules which are included in the Drug and Cosmetic Act. The first one is the Schedule A, which includes the performance for form number 1 to 50. It includes number of forms like application form, issue form, renewal form, etc. Next one is the Schedule B. It includes the rate of fees for test or analysis by Central Drug Laboratory or government analyst. Next is the Schedule C, which includes the list of biological and special products, especially for the injectable preparations applicable to special provisions. Examples, sera, vaccines, penicillins, etc. Next one is the Schedule C1, which includes the list of biological and special products specifically for the non-parental preparations applicable to special provisions, example digitalis, hormones, and ergot. There is a difference between Schedule C and Schedule C1 is that C1 is for injectable and C1 is for non-parental. Next one is this Schedule D. It includes the list of drugs that are exempted from provisions of the import. Schedule even includes the list of poisonous substances under the Ayurvedic Siddha and Unani system. Schedule F includes the provisions applicable to blood bank. Schedule F1 includes the special provisions applicable to biological and special products, example, bacterial and viral vaccines, sera from living animals, bacterial origin, diagnostic agents. Schedule F2 includes standards for surgical dressings and F3 includes standards for umbilical tapes. Schedule FF includes the standards for ophthalmic preparations. Schedule G includes the list of the substances which are required to be used under medical supervision and labeled accordingly. Example, metformin, antihistaminics, etc. Schedule H includes the list of the substances that should be sold by retail only on the prescription of RMP, that is registered medical practitioner. Schedule H are also called prescription drugs. Example, atenolol, lorazepam, dapsone, etc. Schedule J includes the list of the diseases and ailments that drugs should not claim to cure. Example, cancer, AIDS, cataract, diabetes, etc. Schedule K includes the list of the drugs that are exempted from certain provisions regarding manufacture. Schedule M includes the requirement of manufacturing premises. Schedule M is also known as the good manufacturing practices, that is includes the requirement of factory premises, plants and equipments. In Schedule M, there are further three subclassification like Schedule M1, it has requirements of factory premises for manufacture of homeopathic medicines. Schedule M2, which has requirements of factory premises for manufacture of cosmetics, and Schedule M3, which has requirements of factory premises for manufacture of medical devices. Schedule N includes the list of equipments to run a pharmacy. Schedule O, which includes the standards for disinfectant fluids, example phenol, hydrogen peroxide, alcohol, etc. Schedule P, it includes the information of life period or the expiry of the drugs, example like insulin injection which has expiry of 24 months. Schedule Q includes the coal tar colors which are permitted to be used in cosmetics, example caramel, titanium dioxide, tawny red, etc. Schedule R, which includes the standards for mechanical contraceptives, and Schedule R1, which includes the standards for medical devices. Schedule S, it includes the standards for cosmetics. Schedule T, it includes the requirements, that is the GMP requirements, good manufacturing practices of factory premises for Ayurvedic, Siddha and Unani drugs. Schedule U, it includes the manufacturing and analytical records of the drugs. And Schedule U1, it includes the manufacturing and analytical records of cosmetics. Schedule V, it includes the standards for patent or proprietary medicines. Schedule W, which includes the list of the drugs marketed under the generic names which are omitted. Schedule X, the list of the narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. These NDPS substances are also called the dangerous drugs, example opium, morphine, poppy, barbital, etc. Schedule Y, it includes the requirement and the guidelines on the clinical trials for the import and the manufacturing of new drugs. After that, we discuss some brief discussion about some schedules. First one is the Schedule G. The medicines listed as Schedule G carry on label a caution. It is dangerous to take this preparation except under medical supervision. The general information which are required are: caution is printed and surrounded by a line with which there should be no other words. It is necessary to make proper bill of sale, and also the records of purchase and sale of these medicines must be maintained for a period of 2 years. They can be sold without prescription of a RMP, example insulin, metformin, etc. Next one is the Schedule H. This includes the prescription drugs, that is, the drugs and medicines which must be sold by retail only when prescription by registered medical practitioner is produced. The time and the date of the prescription must be noted, and the drug label displays the text RX and also the Schedule H drugs. Drug specified in Schedule H and comes within the NDPS Act labeled with the symbol NRX and the Schedule H warning. It contains a list of 536 drugs, example like acyclovir, diclofenac, etc. They can be sold only under the direct supervision of pharmacist. They can be sold and stocked to the patient only by the pharmacy holding valid retail license. The symbol RX displayed on the left top corner of the label and a red line across the left side. They should be sold against a proper bill of sale. The records of purchase and the sale of medicines should be retained for a period of at least 3 years. After Schedule H, there is also Schedule H1, which was introduced under Drug and Cosmetic Act and Rules 2013 to separately regulate the sales of the antibiotics, thus monitoring the use and the abuse of these antibiotics. Next one is the Schedule J. It contains a list of the diseases which a drug may not prevent or cure. No drug claims to prevent or treat these diseases. Basically, there are a list of 51 diseases which are found in Drug and Cosmetic Act and rules, like example AIDS, paralysis, blindness, deafness, etc. Next one is the Schedule M. It is also known as the Good Manufacturing Practices, that is GMP. It has two parts. Part 1 is the GMP for premises and material, and part 2 is the specific requirements of plants and equipments. The GMP regulations was prepared in 1975, which could be implemented in 1988 in the form of amended Schedule M. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has again amended Schedule M to the Drugs and Cosmetic Rules 1945 in December 2001. These rules shall not apply to the manufacturers who are presently licensed to manufacture drugs for a period of 3 years, that is, till December 2004. Schedule M prescribes GMPs and requirements of premises, plants, and equipments needed to be evolved by the manufacturer of drugs or before setting up a new manufacturing unit. To achieve the stipulated objectives, each licensee is required to update these practices through appropriate methodology, systems, and documentations, etc. Quality of drugs is essentially the responsibility of manufacturers. Next, we discuss about the part 1, that is good manufacturing practices for premises and materials. The general requirements includes the number of points. Firstly, we discuss about the location and the surrounding. The location of the factory and its surroundings should be such as to avoid risk of the contamination from external environment, including the sewage, drain, public lavatory, or any factory which produce disagreeable or obnoxious odor, fumes, dust, smoke, chemical or biological emissions. After location and surroundings, there are buildings and premises which should conform to the conditions laid down in the Factories Act 1948. The building used for the factory shall be designed, constructed, adapted, and maintained to suit the manufacturing operations so as to permit efficient production. Next is the water system. There shall be validated system or treatment of water so as to produce purified water conforming to the IP specifications. Water shall be stored in tanks which do not adversely affect the quality of the water and ensure freedom from microbiological growth. Next is the disposal of waste. The disposal of sewage and effluents from the manufactory shall be in conformity with the requirements of Environment Pollution Control Board. After general requirements, next one is the warehousing area. Adequate areas shall be designed to allow sufficient and orderly warehousing of various categories of material and products like packaging materials, intermediates, bulks, and finished products in quarantine, released, rejected, returned, or recalled machines and equipment parts. Warehousing areas shall be designed and adapted to ensure good storage conditions. They shall be clean, dry, and maintained within the acceptable temperature limits. Receiving and dispatch bays shall protect materials and products from adverse weather conditions. Next one is the production area. The production area shall be designed to allow the production preferably in uniflow and with logical sequence of operations. In order to avoid the risk of cross contamination, self contained facilities shall be made available for the production of sensitive pharmaceutical products like penicillins. After production area, we discuss about the ancillary area, which is also called the rest and the refreshment rooms, which has to be separated from other areas. Facilities for changing, storing clothes, and for washing and toilet purpose shall be easily accessible and adequate for the number of users. Areas housing animals shall be isolated from others areas. The other requirements regarding animal houses shall be as those prescribed in the D&C Rules 1945, which shall adopted for the production purposes. Next one is the quality control area. The quality control laboratories shall be independent of the production area, which has to be separated areas shall be provided each for physicochemical, biological, microbiological, or radioisotope analysis. The design of the laboratory shall take into account the suitability of construction materials and also the ventilation. Next one is the personnel. The manufacture shall be conducted under the direct supervision of computer technical staff with prescribed qualifications and the practical experience in the relevant dosage form or active pharmaceutical products. Personnel for quality assurance and quality control operations shall be suitably qualified and experienced. The written duties of technical and quality control personnel shall be laid and followed strictly. The licensee shall ensure that all personnel in production area or into quality control laboratories shall receive training appropriate to the duties and the responsibilities assigned to them. Next one is the health, clothing and sanitation of the workers. The personnel handling beta-lactam antibiotics shall be tested for penicillin sensitivity before employment, and those handling sex hormones, cytotoxic substances, and other potent drugs shall be periodically examined for adverse effects. Prior to the employment, all personnel shall undergo medical examination, including the eye examination, and shall be free from tuberculosis, skin, and other communicable or contagious diseases. Smoking, eating, drinking, chewing, or keeping plants, food, drinks, and personal medicines shall not be permitted in the production and the laboratory and the storage area. Next one is the manufacturing operation and the controls. All manufacturing operations shall be carried out under the supervision of technical staff, which has to be approved by the licensing authority. The contents of all vessels and containers used in the manufacture and storage during the various manufacturing stages shall be labeled with the name of the product, batch number, batch size, and the stage of the manufacture. In the manufacturing operations and control, it is divided into subpart, that is precautions against mix-ups and cross-contamination, which includes the licensee shall be prevent mix-up and cross-contamination of drug material and the product by proper air handling system, pressure differential, segregation, status labeling and cleaning. Proper records has to be maintained. Next one is the sanitation in the manufacturing premises. The manufacturing premises shall be cleaned and maintained in an orderly manner so that it is free from the accumulation waste, dust, debris, and other similar materials. A validated cleaning procedure shall be maintained. A routine sanitation program shall be drawn up and observed. Are specific areas to be cleaned and cleaning intervals, cleaning procedures to be followed, including the equipments and the materials to be used for cleaning, and also the personnel assigned to and responsible for the cleaning operations. Next one is the raw materials. The licensee shall keep an inventory of all raw materials to be used at any stage of manufacture of drugs and maintain records as per Schedule U. All incoming materials shall be quarantined immediately after receipt or processing. All incoming materials shall be checked to ensure that the consignment corresponds to the order placed. Raw materials in the storage area shall be appropriately labeled, and the label shall be clearly marked with the following information, like designated name of the product, the internal code reference number where applicable, and the analytical reference number. And also the manufacturer's name, address, batch number, expiry date, and also the retest date. Next one is the equipment. Equipment shall be located, designed, constructed, adapted, and maintained to suit the operations to be carried out. The layout and the design of the equipment shall aim to minimize the risk of the errors and permit effective cleaning and maintenance in order to avoid cross contamination, any adverse effect on the quality of the product. Balances and other measuring equipment of an appropriate range, accuracy, and precision shall be available in the raw material stores, production, and in process control operations, and these shall be calibrated and checked accordance with the standard operating procedures and records maintained. Next one is the documentation and the records. Documentation is an essential part of the quality assurance system. As such, shall be retailed to all aspects of GMP. Documents designed, prepared, reviewed, and controlled wherever applicable shall comply with these rules. Documentation should be approved, signed, and dated by the appropriate and the authorized persons. They shall be made or completed at the time of each operations. Next one is the labels and other printed materials. Labels are absolutely necessary for identification of the drugs and their use. All containers and equipment shall bear appropriate labels. Different colors coded labels shall be used to indicate the status of the product. Example under test denoted as yellow color, approved denoted as green color, and rejected denoted as red color. To avoid chance mix-up of printed packaging materials, product leaflets relating to different materials. Next is the quality assurance. This is a wide-ranging concept concerning all matters that individually or collectively influence the quality of a product. The system of quality assurance appropriate to the pharmaceutical product shall ensure that the pharmaceutical products are designed and developed in a way that takes account of the requirements of GMP and other associated codes such as those of GLP. Adequate controls on starting materials, intermediate products and bulk products and in-process controls, calibrations and validations are carried out. The finished product is correctly processed and checked in accordance with the established procedures. Next one is the self-inspection and quality audit. To evaluate the manufacturer's compliance with GMP in all aspects of production and quality control, concept of the self-inspection shall be followed. Written instructions for cell inspection shall be drawn up shall include the following information like personnel, premises including personal facilities, maintenance of the buildings and equipments, the storage of the starting materials and finished products, equipments, production and in-process controls, quality control, documentations, sanitations and hygiene, calibration of instruments, validation and revalidation programs, and also the labels controls. Last one is the quality control system. The QC system shall be concerned with the sampling, specifications, testing, documentations, release procedures, which ensures that the necessary and the relevant tests are actually carried and that the material are not released for use, nor products released for sale or supply until their quality has been judged to be satisfactory. This all completes the schedule M. Next we come up to schedule N. It includes the list of minimum equipments for efficient running of pharmacy. The entrance shall bear an inscription pharmacy and it gives direction to the pharmacy regarding premises and entrance of the pharmacy, furniture and the apparatus which are used in the pharmacy, and also the journal provisions for the pharmacy. Next one is the schedule P. As we discussed before, it deals with the life period of drugs and conditions of the storage of the drugs. The period in month between date of manufacture and the date of expiry has to be noted. It includes the antibiotics, vitamin toxins, etc. Next one is the schedule P1. It specifies the pack size of the certain drugs. It gives the name of the drugs along with dosage forms and pack size. No other pack size than the one listed is allowed to be marketed. Next is the Schedule T. The GMP for Ayurvedic, Siddha and Unani drugs. It includes two parts. Part 1 is the GMP and the part 2 is the list of the recommended machineries, equipments and minimum manufacturing premises required for manufacture of various categories of Ayurvedic, homeopathy and Siddha system. After verifying all the requirements and documents, licensing authority issued a certificate within 3 months in Form 26E. Next is the Schedule U. It gives the particular to be shown in the manufacturing records, analytical records, raw materials. The record shall be retained for 5 years for drugs and 3 years for cosmetics from the date of the manufacturing. The particulars which has to be shown includes the serial number, the name of the product, the reference of the master formula record, also known as MFRs, and batch sizes, batch numbers, the date of start and completion of the manufacturing, the date of expiry, etc. Next is the Schedule V. It gives the details of the standards of the patent and the proprietary medicines. The patent of proprietary medicines shall comply with the general requirements of dosage form under which it falls in IP. If dosage form not falls in IP but included in any other pharmacopoeia prescribed for the purpose of the second schedule to the Act, it shall comply with general requirements of doses of such pharmacopoeia. It included color consistency, clarity, free from contamination, and free from defects. Next one is the Schedule X. It contains the list of the narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. It has warnings on label, Schedule X drugs, and to be sold on the retail on prescription of RMP only. It also has symbol NRX in red on the left top corner. It retains the prescription for 2 years with stamp. The drug must cap in the locker system because it is a dangerous drug, and any salt and preparations of such substances also comes under this schedule. Example amphetamine, amobarbital, etc. Last one is the Schedule Y. The guidelines on the clinical trials, imports, manufacturing of the new drugs included in the Schedule Y. Details like chemical and pharmaceutical information, animal test, toxicology and pharmacology, clinical trials, nature of the trial, permission for trial, responsibility of sponsor, and also the studies in the special population and the post marketing surveillance should be included. The Schedule Y includes the deals with the compensation in the case of injury or death during the trial. Hello everyone, myself Ms. Preeti Gautam, Assistant Professor from School of Pharmacy, Bibri University, come up with the topic The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act and Rules. The increasing population has posed a serious problem in India, and the government is putting in serious efforts in this direction. Massive family planning programs have been launched in the country. The concept of small and planned family is gaining popularity, and the public awareness is increasing gradually. All said and done, there are cases of the unwanted or medically undesirable pregnancies. The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971, Rules 1975, and Regulations 1975 provide for the termination of certain pregnancies by registered medical practitioners and related matters. The Act extends to the whole of the India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Next one is the different definitions which are included in the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act and Rules. First one is the guardian. A guardian means a person having the care of a minor or a lunatic. Next one is the minor. A minor is a person who, under the provisions of the Indian Majority Act, is to be deemed not to have attained majority. Next one is the place. A place is a building or a tent or a vehicle or vessel which is used or intended to be used for the termination of any pregnancy. Next one is the registered medical practitioner, a person who possesses any recognized medical qualification and whose name has been entered in a state medical register and who has such experience or training in gynecology and obstetrics. Next topic is the termination of pregnancies. Pregnancy is the condition in which an embryo or fetus is developing in the body. Signs of pregnancy includes cessation of menstruation, morning sickness, breast enlargement, and progressive enlargement of abdomen. This term is not defined under the Act. Abortion is the termination of pregnancy before the fetus is viable. As such, this term has also not been defined under the Act. The Act provides for the termination of pregnancy by a RMP as follows. When the length of a pregnancy does not exceed 12 weeks and the RMP is of opinion that the continuation of the pregnancy would involve a serious risk to the life of the pregnant woman or a grave injury to her physical or mental health, or there is a substantial risk that if the child were born, it would suffer from such physical or mental abnormalities or as to be seriously handicapped. When the length of pregnancy exceeds 12 weeks but does not exceed 20 weeks, and if not less than 2 RMPs are of the same opinion as described before. However, the provisions relating to the length of the pregnancy and the opinion of not less than 2 RMPs shall not apply to the termination of a pregnancy by a RMP in cases where he is of the opinion that the termination of such pregnancy is immediately necessary to save the life of the pregnant woman. Where any pregnancy is alleged by the pregnant woman to have been caused by rape, the anguish caused by such pregnancy shall be ensured to constitute grave injury to the mental health of the pregnant woman. Where any pregnancy occurs as a result of failure of any device or method used by any married woman or her husband for the purpose of limiting the number of children, the anguish caused by such unwanted pregnancy may be presumed to constitute grave injury to the mental health of the pregnant woman. In determining whether the continuance of pregnancy would involve a risk to the life of the pregnant woman or grave injury to her physical or mental health, account may be taken of the pregnant woman's actual or reasonable forcible environment. No pregnancy shall be terminated without the consent of the pregnant woman except when the pregnant woman is less than 18 years in age or the pregnant woman is lunatic although she has attained the age of 18 years. Such consent shall be given in Form C. Termination of a pregnancy by a person other than RMP is an offense punishable under the Indian Penal Code. Termination of pregnancy shall not be made at any place other than a hospital established or maintained by the government, a place for the time being approved for the purpose of this act by the government. Every RMP who terminates any pregnancy should certify such termination in the prescribed Form 1 within 3 hours from the termination of the pregnancy. No suit or other legal remedy shall lie against any RMP for any damage caused or likely to be caused by anything which is done in good faith under this Act. Next topic is the experience or training. For the purpose of the Act, the RMP should possess one or more of the following experience or training in gynecology and obstetrics. If he was registered in a state medical register immediately before the commencement of the Act, experience in the practice of gynecology and obstetrics for not less than 3 years. In the case of a RMP who has registered in a state medical register on or after the date of commencement of the Act, if he has completed 6 months of house surgery in gynecology and obstetrics, or when he has not done any such house surgeries, if he had experience at any hospital for not less than 1 year in the practice of gynecology and obstetrics, if he has assisted a RMP in the performance of 25 cases of medical termination of pregnancy in a hospital established or maintained or training institute approved for this purpose by the government. In the case of a medical practitioner who has been registered in a state medical register and who holds a postgraduate degree or diploma in gynecology and obstetrics, the experience or training gained during the course of the degree or diploma. Next topic is the approval of a place. Medical termination of pregnancy can be done by a RMP only at an approved place. The application for the approval of a place should be addressed to the Chief Medical Officer of the district who shall verify or inspect such place with a view to ascertain himself that the following conditions are satisfied. An operation table and instruments for performing abdominal or gynecological surgeries are available. Anesthetic equipments, resuscitation equipments, and sterilization equipments are available. Drugs and parenteral fluids for emergency use are available. After considering the application and recommendations of the Chief Medical Officer of the district, the government may approve such place and issue a certificate of approval. The certificate must be conspicuously displayed at the place so that it is easily visible to the person visiting the place. The Chief Medical Officer of the district may inspect an approved place as necessary. If at any time he is satisfied that the prescribed facilities are not being properly maintained and termination of pregnancy at such place cannot be made under safe and the hygienic conditions, he shall make a detailed report to the government. On receipt of such report, the government, after giving the owner of the place of reasonable opportunities of being heard, either cancel the certificate of approval or suspend the same for such period as it may think fit. The certificate may, however, be renewed or a fresh certificate issued on application from the owner of a place after making necessary additions or improvements. In the event of the suspension of a certificate of approval, the place shall not be deemed to be an approved place for the purpose of termination of pregnancy from the date of communication of the order of suspension. Next topic is the admission register. Every head of the hospital or owner of the approved place shall maintain a register for recording therein the administration of women for the termination of their pregnancies. The entries in the admission register shall be made serially year-wise. The admission register shall be a secret document and the information contained about the pregnant woman shall not be disclosed to any person. The register shall be kept in the custody of the head of the hospital or owner of the approved place or any person so authorized. The admission register shall not be opened to the inspection by any person except under the authority of, in the case of departmental or other inquiry, the Chief Secretary of the Government of a Union Territory, or in the case of an investigation into an offence, a magistrate of the first class within the local limits of whose jurisdiction the hospital or approved place is situated. And in the case of a suit or other actions for damages, the district judge within the local limit of whose jurisdiction the hospital or approved place is situated. The RMP, however, shall, on the application of an employed woman whose pregnancy has been terminated, grant a certificate for the purpose of enabling her to obtain leave from her employer, provided that any such employer shall not disclose this information to any other person. Every admission register shall be destroyed on the expiry of a period of 5 years from the date of the last entry in that register, and other papers on the expiry of period of 3 years from the date of termination of pregnancy concerned. No entry shall be made in any case sheet, operation theatre register, follow-up card, or any other document or register, except the admission register maintained at any hospital or approved place indicating therein the name of the pregnant woman, and reference to the pregnant woman shall be made therein by the serial number assigned to such woman in the admission register. Next topic is the custody of forms. The consent given by a pregnant woman for the termination of her pregnancy, together with the certified opinion, shall be placed in an envelope. This envelope shall be sealed by the RMP by whom such pregnancy was terminated, and until that envelope is sent to the head of the hospital or owner of the approved place or the chief medical officer of the state, it shall be kept in the safe custody of the concerned RMP. Such envelope shall be marked secret, and there shall be note the serial number assigned to the pregnant woman and the name of the RMP by whom the pregnancy was terminated, and sent immediately to the head of the hospital or owner of the approved place where the pregnancy was terminated. The head of the hospital or owner of the approved place shall arrange to keep the same in safe custody. He shall also send to the CMO of the state a weekly statement of the cases of medical termination of pregnancies. Next topic is the power to make rules. The central government may make rules to carry out the provisions of this act to provide for the experience or training or both which a RMP shall have if he intends to terminate any pregnancy under this act and such other matters as may be required to be provided by the rules. Every rule made by the central government under this act shall be laid as soon as may be after it is made before each house of parliament while it is in session for a total period of 30 days which may be comprised in one or two successive sessions if he before the expiry of the session in which it is so late or the session immediately following both houses agree in making any modifications in the rule or both houses agree that the rule should not be made, the rule thereafter shall have effect only in such modified form or be of no effect as the case may be, and that any other modification shall be without prejudice to the validity of anything previously done under that rule. Next topic is the power to make regulations. The state government may make regulations to provide for the taking of opinion, its certification by RMP, and the preservation or disposal of such certificates requiring any RMP who terminates a pregnancy to give intimation of such termination and any such other information relating to the termination as may be specified and prohibiting the disclosure of intimations given or information furnished in pursuance of regulations to any authorized unauthorized persons. Any person who willfully contravenes or willfully fails to comply with the requirements of any regulations shall be liable to be punished with fine which may extend to 1000 rupees. Thank you.